Hello everyone! In this tutorial we are going to cover the new physics shape editor for Wade. Now this allows you to collide more irregular shapes than just boxes. So to do this, first of all we need to click on our physics button up here, and this will import our physics script into Wade. I'm going to add two scene objects, one for the ground and a new scene object for a square up here. Now for the moment I just want a bouncing square, so all I'm going to do is go to the ground, behaviors, drop down a physics object and add. Now the body type is static, that is correct, the ground is not moving, but we want to reduce the restitution from 1 to about 0.8. This just means that when the box bounces, it will not bounce forever, it will lose energy. So if I go up to my bouncing box, I also need to add the physics object behavior to this. And once again, restitution 0.8. Whenever two objects collide, Wade takes the highest restitution value between the two objects, so both of them need to be lowered. So if we just run our program now, nothing happens. Why is that? Because we forgot to change body type to dynamic. Let's run again. There we go, we have a bouncing square. Now for fun, let's just put that at a bit of an angle. And it tumbles and it collides as you'd expect it to. No problems. So what happens if we do this? Let's create a new scene object. And this one we are going to add a second sprite. So I'm just going to make this sprite a lot narrower and maybe a little bit wider. Well, that should do. And I want to create my new sprite now, so new sprite. I'm going to make this tall. I'm going to give it an offset, and I'm going to move it to the left. So in reality it's more likely you would have an image that had some transparency rather than an odd shape like this. But anyway, this just represents a more complex shape to do collisions on. So let's go to behaviors, physics object, add. Now here we need to change body type to dynamic again, and restitution to 0.8. Now, firstly, we're going to look in the Physics Shapes button. This is a new button, Edit Physics Shapes. So I'll just go ahead and click on that. And we can see it's actually already made a collision box around the first sprite that we added. So, in old Wade, before this existed, you essentially had this. It's not quite perfect, but I'll just apply it. So, if this object was bouncing, it would work like that, but more importantly, if I rotate it so the transparent part hits the ground first, it bounces off an invisible section. And we didn't have the physics shape editor, so there was no way around this. But now, we can do this. I'll just rotate this the right way around for now. Okay, you have multiple options here. First of all, you can hide the sprite, so you can see where your vertices are. You can hide the shape, so you can see your vertices more clearly, or you can just hide the vertices themselves. You can add new shapes, so if I wanted a second collision box, say if these two rectangles weren't actually connected, I could just move this one around there. I could add a second box and notice it's in a different colour. And I could just drag these around. So you can actually have a sprite with transparency completely between the two sections and it'll be fine, it'll work. So I'm just going to remove that polygon because I don't actually need it. You also have circles as an option. That's quite straightforward. You can drag bigger and smaller. Ooh, I'll remove that as well as we don't need it. We only need a single shape. So what I'm going to do is left click here to create a new vertice. And you'll notice this green line has been created. That's because I pulled this in a bit. Now this, if I get this the right way around, is a concave shape. Now, doing collision on concave shapes is very difficult. You really want a convex shape. So what this green line is doing is telling you that this shape will actually be split into two smaller convex shapes, so the collision detection will work. So if I just move this to here, we need another vertex here. So there we go, we've basically got our shape. And that should collide quite nicely. So let's have a go. Let's save that. Let's rotate it back this way. Now when we hit the ground, this transparent corner should not hit. It should be one of these edges. I don't know which. Let's have a look. That's better. And it's going to bounce around quite a bit. Almost. So anyway, if I go back to physics shapes, we will see that we now have 2 polygons. So what this does, when you apply your shape in the editor, it splits it up into the convex shapes. But I'm just going to leave that as it is, put it back together, click apply, and I'm going to make a quick example that will really show how this works. So if I just borrow this square, one of the reasons I left it in the scene, I want to show that it can basically move into this area without colliding here or here. So if we just start this, we might have to play around to get this to look right. Oh, it bounced off the top of there when that got back. So there we go, we see it's colliding. That's actually quite interesting. What's going on there? I have a theory. Yes, the second object has the wrong restitution. That might actually be a little bug, but we can surely fix that. So make sure all your objects have the restitution value you want. I'm going to rotate this again. I'm trying to really get a good example of this. Yes, there we go. So you can see clearly the object collides and it can rest inside what would normally be the collision shape of the whole sprite. And that's basically it for this tool for now. I'll just quickly show you that you can go really crazy with this if you want. So you can go pretty wild with your shapes. Now here's the goal, can we break it? I think I can break it. Oh, sorry, there was one more thing. If you make an invalid shape, so if I do this and cross 2 lines, it goes red. So basically don't do that. If you've got a red shape, it's invalid, you can't have it. But you can get pretty complex. So as you can see, it's recalculating in real time the convex shapes that are made by this huge complex web. And if we click apply, go back to edit physics shapes, we have all these different colors, all these polygons, and we can remove them. And notice it also highlights the polygon you mouse over, so it's easier to select them. Anyway, I think that is all for the physics shape tutorial. I hope you found it useful. Thanks for watching.